So if somebody doesn't want to be recorded, join, log off, and then somebody else will be able to join. We have a queue of many people, so that will not be a problem. Otherwise, let's go further. There is a lot of questions, and most questions was so the reasons for the meeting, or why don't we want to continue with existing model and so on. So, and there is not one answer. This is like multiple series of events, right? Some of it started last year already. A lot of black PR articles, which now has resulted also into business sabotage, as there's somebody going to the development sites offering serious money for the builders not to make construction or to delay it or to, damage it a bit. So there's in the solar park, Best Park in Valga, there was 100,000 offered to construction company, which is I think crazy. Then in the Kruspil Street, in the powerhouse Kruspils here in Riga, like it also has been delayed and delayed because somebody was complaining about health issues and environment issues, other issues. Now we had like a road blocked by metal concrete blocks. I mean, of course we remove them and continue, yeah, but this is just for you to know. And then of course Buffin order, right? So we received a letter from the Buffin, and then once they posted the order, it was also sent to our banks, including Paysero, with again Buffin order link, some articles, and they opted to close all the accounts and resulting in Paysero restrictions. Then we went open many more in different payment institutions and banks accounts. But like in this 1 week, we got many rejections. We got again called that this powerhouse Truspils is being will be delayed because again somebody is complaining and not allowing us to drive through. And the banks we have said, oh, they will not accept funds going to or from the Ventus Energy Group company, right? And then if you all this, and of course, not of course, but so after we were collecting evidence on this black PR and sabotage, so we were submitting it to the police. And then once they started criminal case, the next day we got Kat Pig's head to the office in Estonia, and then we got somebody followed us, me and Yanis, made pictures of cars and families and vehicles with some threats. And before that, there were again, if you read Ventus Faucet, it's all written there. The sequence of events. Yeah, so all this together just makes it impossible for us to continue under the previous terms, and I don't see any actual reason to do it. And once Ventus was started, the idea is to build energy, right, heat and electricity portfolios, add value, and sell it further as a bundle to other interested funds or investors. So it makes sense that we do it faster because our main goal is to preserve the value and fully pay the creditors, and also to earn some money as well in between. So in order to do that, we have decided that the best is restructuring process. And again, we see like in Estonia, restructuring process goes through the court, and it goes through the legal form of in the same articles as insolvency. So I see a lot of even lawyers, for some reason of different, some regulated platforms saying, oh, they're going insolvent, which is not true. So we are doing restructuring process, which means company actually remains operational rather than insolvent, right? And this goal is right to protect the businesses and lenders and also all the creditors. And we do have went through different scenarios. Of course, the one is let's just do insolvency, do nothing, right? And that's it. But then we understand that maximum return would be 40-50%, maybe even less, because I don't know if you have followed, but there many years ago there was a platform called Investio, which had some real projects, had some fake projects. I don't remember, yeah, but they started insolvency process in 2020, and now it's 2026, and insolvency process is still ongoing, and there is nothing much regained for the investors. So there is no, um, if you had just, one company, let's say one solar park that's being sold off in auction, it would be easy. But as we are, major group with, many entities, subsidiaries, each, owns something. It will take years, and in the fees of administrators and lawyers, it will just be destroyed value. So that's why we are opting for restructuring, so we can sell all or part of the assets at normal price. Even before this, we already had contacted one M&A company, which was again just also to explain what we have been dealing with. It was also approached by some, let's say, not our friends, telling them that they should not maybe work with us and give potentially wrong evaluations, etc. Right? So we had already this working background going on, and it makes sense to continue. They have found 9 very interested buyers, but there are 2 of them are super, let's say, interested and asking more and more these documents. So we're creating and delivering all the data they need so that we can proceed further. So let's go on here. Yeah, so regarding the Buffin order, the questions are, so what does it mean on conditional repayment or qualified subordination on bank-like activities? Yeah, so this is the questions are, why did Buffin make the order? Like, they treat us as a bank. So somebody, not our investor, complained to the Buffin about Estonian company. And when reviewing our documents, which we always are cooperating with Buffin, so they said, well, you are missing few clauses, 2 of them, and it's not written explicitly in the agreement. It's mezzanine loan, right? It should have been even more written, and that's why you are a bank. And we offered, of course, that we change the agreements, etc. But now we are in negotiation process, right? And let's see how it goes. However, now of course, with the restructuring plan, I think it's again best we just do the sale and repay those who want to be repaid. I know and we'll talk about it a bit later in the end. Some larger investors, founders want to be still invested, and what are options for that. So I will cover that in the little bit later. So current situation and the root causes of this. So I think I explained the Buffin decision. Yeah. So there was a complaint, and then when there's complaint, Buffin needs to react. So according to our lawyers, it's very rarely they look at company that is less than 100 million. Yeah. So their target is usually 1 billion. Yeah. So unless there's somebody who complains, and in our case, somebody complained, and hence the investigation started and so on. And I think I covered why this situation escalates so fast. It's because, if there's, bank accounts are closed, operations are halted, projects are trying, they're trying to sabotage some projects, and there are personal threats. I mean, add this all together, it just, there's why would we continue in this way? Yeah, so I also see no option how we can do it, otherwise, right? So I think reputation for Ventus as a company is damaged like completely. For our UBO, Yanis, of course, is the same. It's basically non-existent, this reputation. So at the moment, so there is just no way how we can continue in the current format. So why we chose restructuring rather than insolvency? As I said, like my interest is to recover all the funds. Yeah. So that's the best option, is that we sell assets at normal price. I think everybody who was been dealing with something similar knows that forced sale price is always less than normal price when there is like competition competing to buy something. Yeah. Regarding criminal investigations in Estonia, So everything is given to the police. Of course, we need to not time almost every week add more materials, right? So it just also takes some time. But I like we have not been asked to go to Estonia now, no, past weeks. So they have not sent us updates. So we let police do their job. We also there's process started in Latvia also that against attacks against us. So yeah, then when police calls, we go to the police, show the evidence and so on. But that's it. Currently, no measures have been other than that taken. Yeah, and regarding operational regulatory banking challenge, I think I already described. Yeah, so some questions will repeat, and we have tried to group them. Yeah, but I will just go over. So regarding operational companies, so all operational companies have bank accounts, they have agreements, so they're all that are producing heat or electricity or grid balancing in any form, they are operational. We have maybe some unpaid few invoices. Yeah, we're waiting for the revenue for the May. As you know, like in the electricity trader is not paying us very fast. So hopefully soon we're gonna get the money for the May, and then again we can move forward. Yeah. So and regarding the banking challenges, yeah. So if no bank wants to accept investor funds or lenders funds, yeah. So and there are limitations to what we can do with operational companies funds. So that's the situation. What lessons have management learned? Well, yeah. So of course, another error. So when we started this company, so what we did, I will not say the name of the companies which we copied because somebody maybe will write and complain to Buffin again. Yeah, so I don't want to hurt any other investment platform that is unregulated. But yeah, so we just copied the model that has been working for 10 years, more or less, right? The industries and we got legal opinions so that. Also, we had discussions with local regulator in Estonia. This is all reflected in the legal opinion, and we started working. So we're less than 2 years old, right? So we are still a startup. What we see, of course, is always could have done better is to, as the German base was, half approximately of the whole portfolio. Yeah, so we could have see maybe potentially ask approach Buffin ourselves or lawyers how to change. But again, now when we are now discussing, there are some lawyers saying the model is good, but you need to change something. The Buffin says not other lawyers as well, but there are some again issues. So there is always risk in operating in when you create a new startup, new concept, then or something new. I mean, 10 years is not a very long period. You know, legislation might change, views how government or organizations look at things might change. So that was always part of the risk. Of course, regarding some appeals, negotiations, of course, we have appealed Buffin's order. We have explained ourselves. We are sending them all the data, their requests about power plants and so on, about lenders. And regarding compliance, as you know, what unusually, is all the lenders complain that we ask for AML or KYC documents. But again, it's in such case, of course, this is good. We can prove the money, your money is not criminal money. It's good, hard-earned money, and there's no issue there. Regarding personal threats is just another nail in the coffin, right? Of course, and operational businesses it doesn't affect. I mean, meaning the power plants that that generate heat or electricity. There are personnel on site. So far, we have not heard from them that they have got some threats or cut. I don't know, tires or something, flat tires or something. Yeah, so they are operational. Of course, some employees are scared, which is fine. We have to be more careful. We have to park cars next to the camera. So I mean, police gave us some tips and tricks how to go further now on. So we are following those security precautions. Regarding significant changes in senior management, there have not been any significant changes. Maybe somebody has changed a job title or something, but everybody's still eager to work, right? And we have built something amazing in less than 2 years, and now we need to finish it uh, also amazingly, so we can get all the back the funds and get the most value. It goes for your interest, also for us, for ours. Many, me including, and other management team have also lent funds through the platform, right? So we are as interested as you to get our money back, so as much as possible. So we will, there's a skin in the game which we want to pursue and get the best result. Uh, Legal proceedings and restructuring process. So we have hired a legal advisor that specializes in restructuring. So now we need to, as I wrote last week, and I think on the night on Thursday, submit certain documents. So we are now creating, or not creating, but making all these documents ready, plans and everything, cash flows and so on and so on. What is needed for the court to look at this application. Once it's done, and when creditors, including meaning you, have voted for or against restructuring, then of course portal will appoint advisor that will look at what we are doing, so that everything is transparent, and then the money is used where it needs to be. So the next legal steps, as I said, is we need to in 2 weeks we need to file this all the documents, plan, cash flows, etc., some balance sheets and so on to the court, and then if when court approves it, then we will make vote for you lenders. Yeah. So the timeline for the structuring process as such, it can be up to 4 years. Yeah, but so let's say what we have discussed with this M&A company that is selling part of our portfolio, they think they will be managed to close the first deals in 1 year. So I mean, the sooner the better, right? So we have no intentions to prolong it more than necessary. And regarding risks, if of course restructuring can fail in case you as lenders thought that you don't want restructuring, you want insolvency. So the risk is then, of course, that you will not get the money back, or not get all the money back, of course, depending how fast insolvency administrator will work. Hopefully not as long as in previous Estonian case of 6 years when it's a disaster. Yeah. So those are the risks. Otherwise, if a restructuring plan is in place, company can operate normally. Yeah, we can. There is more than enough cash to perform operations, continue finish some upgrades that we intended to do, and increase the value and sell for even more higher price. Yeah, that is maybe today. That's the situation. Why we are confident restructuring is the most appropriate path. Well, as I said, insolvency would destroy value, and we are interested not value destruction. We really want to repay all the creditors. This is one thing. Second is that this allows company to operate and to breathe, and to also finish some or make some upgrades where necessary to increase the value. And also that would, of course, that would entail that the banks would be more happy to cooperate, right? And especially when there's somebody put in like as administrator to witness everything, that so we could be just easier to work with rather than trying to, I don't know, run to some third party, restart the business, how some super expensive MEs that service the funds is just. But all together, right? Again, because one is there is banking issue, but there is regulatory issue, there is threat issue, there is sabotage issue. There's so many issues. I mean, that's why we're confident restructuring is the best, because then we put most of these things on hold, and just work as fast as possible to sell the portfolio. And second, and one more thing is that our goal was always to either build or acquire, add some value, and then resell it. Yes. Initially, the plan was to do it after 5 to 7 years. Well, now we will do it in 2 to 3 years, a bit faster, but I think it's still fine. And as I said, most important thing is to repay all the creditors, including you. So that's the that's the main target. Yeah. Regarding the legal advisors in Germany, so of course we have appealed Buffin order, like in the time frame it was given. And we are just doing these negotiations and agreeing on the best scenario for you as the lenders, because also I see a lot of hate about Buffin, and Buffin is just doing its job. If somebody complains, they need to react, so they reacted, and in the end, they want to protect. I mean, they're supposed to protect your interests if you're German, yeah. So and that's why I think we will reach looks that we will reach a normal agreement, because when we explain what we are doing, that we are not a bank, we are an energy company, and look, here are the assets, here are the valuations. I mean, they understand that we need, a reasonable time frame to sell it and to repay everything. Yeah. Um, so before we opted for restructuring, the legal advisors, changed the agreement so that it would fit German legislation, and Buffett would be, say, happy. Yeah, but as I said, given all the other issues like bad PR, everybody's reaching out, to the banks, to the state funds, like Latvian state funds, somebody's writing emails and so on. So it's just at this point, as I said, I see no point continuing the way we continue, and the best way is to restructure and sell out the portfolio. So the current situation is Buffin is that, as I said, we are in negotiation. There is no problems with Estonian Financial Intelligence Unit, as you know, we do KYC for larger amounts. We also ask for some documents. So I doubt any of your money is from criminal proceedings. Yeah, so everything should be fine, and we have not heard from Estonian intelligence unit at all. Regarding if restructuring goes on as planned, so what do you need to do as lenders? Yeah, so there you don't need to do much, right? So if you have agreed on the restructuring, and by you I mean, so 2/3 of amount, right? So if all the largest lenders will agree, then doesn't matter what some smaller lenders think. So it's 2/3 of amount needs to agree. Yeah. And it's not only Germans, it's all Spanish, Lithuanian, Portuguese, French, Italian, and so on. All are equal. Yeah. There is no better or worse lender on Ventus. Yeah. All are the same. Um, uh, so there are to my knowledge, there are no additional documents that you will need. So we will see what our legal advisors that specialize in restructuring will say, how the voting is organized. But other than that, we will provide everything. And we will update you. So whenever it happens on the results, so this will all be, made either sent to your emails or your Ventus profile. Yeah, so I think I answered that. So yes, you will have to vote on the restructuring plan. If you don't vote, it will count as a no. Yeah, so that will be your choice. At the moment, I don't think there will be additional creditor portal. We have the Ventus Energy portal. I think that will be sufficient, but we will see from our advisors what they say and what can be agreed this court. And of course, you will receive regular updates about restructuring. I think on Ventus we have been doing it very regularly. Yeah, so we'll continue to update you regular. I mean, not daily, of course. I mean, there will not be daily actions happening, but minimum once per month you'll get an update. But of course, there's other things happening like operational results. So I think there'll be updates anyway, right, on our business. Regarding recovery and repayments, So it all depends, right? So if we manage to get to restructure, work normally, sell normally, I think we're gonna recover everything, possibly make some profit. Uh, if there is insolvency, right, it could be, much less. Yeah, depending how long it takes, how much administrator takes on his legal fees. Yeah, so that will depend, right? Then I hope could be, from 0 to 50%. Yeah, something like that. And yeah, so at the moment we hope for full repayment, and the assets are there, the value seems to be there, and since again, if you have multiple buyers, right, then there is the more the buyers, the higher the prices. That's the scenario, and it's for those who are newer or doesn't know. So we are the largest private heat provider in Riga, yeah, which also is very interesting for some companies, yeah. So there is a good potential. Yeah. Again, how much will be repaid, it will depend, right, on the sales price and so on. So as I said, at this time, it's we hope that we can uh, get all the funds back. The timeline from first repayments, we will see, right? Because and the way how we're gonna sell it, we are not gonna sell Ventus Energy Group, yeah. So that's very important. So we are gonna sell the operational or development companies as a projects, yes. So, and we're gonna divide them by portfolios. So there'll be heat portfolio, solar and best portfolio, wind and best portfolio, and crypto portfolio. Right? So completely different segments because there are completely different buyers for each segment. So we want to maximize the income, the revenue by targeting the correct segment, right? So how will the repayments occur? That will depend, I think, on this way how we agree with the court and this administrator, right? So that I will be able to tell a bit later once I have more information. Regarding the portfolio and valuation, so our website is operational, so you can see what are the latest what we have, calculated as the asset portfolio, which is constructs right of perform valuations or internal valuations. So more than 100 million euros. The debt is a bit less than 100 million euros. So there is a gap. But again, it all depends on the market price. If we go for auctions in the insolvency case, of course, then there is the price is significantly less minus all the fees. Then of course is less. If we go for normal, then we will see, right? So what's the value? So regarding valuation, this is something also is needed for restructuring process. So we had ordered before as well, but yeah, so he ordered evaluations for our projects, right? So that there is third-party evaluation for each project, and that will be made available. Regarding interested buyers, yeah, so there are two major non-local funds that are interested in specific part of the business. And we are working with this M&A company to provide the data they need. So yeah, so that's very good news. Regarding other portfolios like not heat, but wind and solar, we also have few interested buyers, but again, this is their going on spot checking the power, the plans and everything. So we'll just preparing the documents and we'll see what are the prices offered, and then basically we will decide. And so the question, which assets will be sold, which we can expect to be sold first, I think the ones that get the most, the highest value. So we are working currently with all asset classes, heat, wind, and solar, and crypto. So not there is no specific strategy which needs to be sold first or second. It's all about the price. And so the more the money we can get, the more money we can repay the creditors, the better. So So the regarding the sale of assets, as I said, the restructuring process is in place. So what we have been told, there will be this appointed by court a person that will look over all the major deals, right? So um, again, so that's how we can ensure that there is fair practices done, and also the more buyers you have, the price goes higher. If you would have just one buyer, then it's very hard to do something. So regarding independent valuations, the last one was for Powerhouse Jugla. And as I said, for the solar parks now, there's valuations in progress. I think also for the dummies, there's a valuation in the progress. And yeah, so regarding the assets and projects are wholly owned by the group, I think this we have disclosed all the time, also available on the website. So we have tiny senior part left for Powerhouse Jugla, a bit more left for Powerhouse Dummies. We have Stain Fund left for Solar Best Valmiera. And also for we have senior loan in the Powerhouse Snilken. And regarding the ownership structure, as I said, we are not gonna sell Ventus. Yeah, we are selling the portfolios of the companies, so they're most likely buying either directly operational or development entities, or the SPVs that hold this, let's say, just heat or just solar or wind. So for the sale process, we don't see this, also when the sale is done, so they don't care that much about reputation, of the company. So they look only for the operational company or development project they want to, buy, right? And everything there is currently good. Regarding debt structure and creditors, again, this is available on the website. Has been, since almost beginning of Ventus. So there is less than 10 million owed to the senior lenders, around 82 million owed to mezzanine lenders. And the classification, of course, is on there are senior lenders and there is mezzanine lenders. There is not that much in between. All platform lenders rank the same, so there is nothing special for German lenders. And this is also why another reason why we think restructuring is the best, because then we don't, let's say, use like some good assets to repay just Germans, and then others will be left. So we're gonna treat everything equally, right? And all the platform lenders, I mean, we're gonna treat equally, and that's just the fairest way possible. Of course, before that, we did look at alternative structures. We also had um, serious discussions with two funds, one in Luxembourg, one in Hong Kong. But again, all this negative PR and just say, well, they don't want to risk their reputation and everything to work with and to fund us, right, until under current ownership structure, right? So, and that's was the one of the also one of the reasons why it was decided for the restructuring process. So so we don't have that much senior loans left, as I said, less than 10 million. So most of the asset value would go towards the after repayment of the senior claims, of course, to the platform lenders, right? And the question is, as I have repeated multiple times today, depending what type of sale it is, if it's like auction sale or is it normal sale, like for fair market price. Yes, regarding our own interests. So yes, I as a shareholder have lent through the platform. Management members have lent through the platform. We have not taken money out. We have not early exit or something. So we are in the same boat. We will not go before you. Yeah, we don't have some specific special creative agreements. No, it's just normally through the platform and so on. So we'll run the same as you guys. So that's why we're also interested to get as money back as possible. So the German portfolio is around half. No, the Buffin order doesn't give German lenders any priority. Remember, we are not a German company, right? We are an Estonian company, right? And this is all about negotiations and we are like organizing everything legally so that everybody is treated equally. And of course, this repayment plan, we are both negotiating it with BaFin, and we'll propose it to the Estonian court so that these frameworks should match, right? So it's more or less the same plan. And no, if at the current information I have, so if we proceed with restructuring, so there is no, then everybody will be repaid, equally. There's legally we have not found anything that Germans could order Estonian company to repay Germans faster. So that's not the case, at least what our legal advisors have told us. Regarding the withdrawals of already of the free balance, yeah. So uh, what we can do is just to continue writing and calling them. There is more than 2 million euros blocked just in one account in PSR, yeah, so it's quite significant amount. And once we get the money to our other bank account, then we expect to start repaying them. Of course, if the other bank could ask some questions of KYC, then we're gonna reach out to you. But otherwise, we will just pay out as soon as we have the chance. We get the money back, and then the pending withdrawals will be treated by repayment. I mean, nothing much to add there. Um, of course, wallet balances should be repaid much sooner than we have sold some projects, right? So, I mean, Paysera cannot hold money for much longer, right? It should soon, they should give it back to us anyway. So we'll see if they breach the law. If they do, they will be fined by the regulator. So, but and we of course will not control it. But yeah, hopefully they will just wait for the last day and then transfer, and we can proceed. Regarding legal segregation, as we don't have any banking license or IBS license, right? So legally they are not segregated from the company assets, right? But we expect that to receive the funds from Paysera before restructuring, is in full swing. So it should not be anyhow affected or put in the company's balance sheet. So I strongly believe that there not be any issue regarding the pending withdrawals and on the open balance in the wallet. Of course, and regarding the questions, we get a lot, like why banks have done it and so on. So we have some inside information why the banks have done it, but I will, it will be irresponsible for me to share. But it's negative PR, right? About the owner of the company, UBO, about Ventus Energy as such, about projects and banks in the Baltics, they are very scared easily. The same as, let's say, for the state fund, right? That we applied for a grant for the senior loan, and there's also no questions about project, just about the articles. So that's how it works at the moment here, and everybody is very stressed about KYC and AML questions and reputation. So there's nothing we can influence there. We can just write complaints to the regulator, but that's it. Regarding early exits, all the early exits at the moment are stopped. We don't accept any new more funds, right? We don't plan to. accept any new more funds until the structure is in place. Um, so all the amount that was collected is credited to the wallet, right? And it will just wait for the Paystar to transfer to another bank, so it can be withdrawn. Uh, I think the cancelled amount was around 5 to 6 million, maybe. And partial processed early exits already credited in your wallet, right? So that's already was processed, right? So of course that's in the wallet, and that will be available for withdrawal once we have a bank to do that, or once we have the Paystar transfers to the bank, and we can do that. And there is no special treatment for euro is euro, so we don't care that is it in the wallet interest, is it just transfer, is it early exit, so it's in the wallet. You should be able to withdraw it once we get the money from the peso. Regarding our general operations, yeah, so Ventus Energy is energy company, right? So we have multiple operational entities in heat, in electricity, in solar, and BESS, and wind, and they're all generating revenue. And as you know, and we have shared with you, first month of this year was the best month ever for the powerhouse Jubilee. Now May was the or April was the April was the best month for Powerhouse Dambis in terms of revenues, and also uh, this year our solar and park started to operate, and we got the license for FCR grid balancing. Man, we got quite a lot of we were first company here to get those license. So there was quite good revenue, but even now in the summer, but if you would, and just for your information, so we don't have standalone solar parks. We have all our parks are hybrid, so it's solar plus batteries, and then we have one more system called resistive load banks. And so we are able to work with the one power plant in many different ways. So we don't need to work just in Nord Pool, with the day ahead prices, but we can do grid balancing. We can do three types actually of grid balancing. So we are switching our trader OX trade. They are switching between these options, daily or weekly, and looking for the best operation results. So so the May, what we have, we have statistics in our systems, so seems that again will be very very good months in terms of revenue for each solar or BESS or park. So and yeah, so under current conditions, operations can continue, right? There's much more revenue than there are costs, right? And so again, regarding liquidity, so there is some money stuck, as I said, more than 2 million in Tessera. We hope to get it soon. Regarding operational entities, so we will be getting the payments for the May. We should be getting soon payments for the May, and then we're gonna be able to roll out. And Paystar actually have credited some operational companies as well back, so I think that their situation is very stable, and we don't seem to face any liquidity problems in operational power plants. Regarding new investor inflows, as I said, I don't expect anytime soon to restart the business. That's why we're doing restructuring and selling the assets and trying to operate within the all the development to put in the money from the operational cash flow only, because at the current stage we just cannot get open bank account for lenders, like the company that would like to accept. I'm not thinking about repayment, but about accepting new funds. And secondly, I think that would be irresponsible, right? Because again, it's not that there is just one issue that went, the regulatory issue in Buffin, and that's it, and there are no other issues. Right? There is still, these black PR activities, threats, extortions, sabotages, bad reputation that has damaged again, and not allowed to refinance our portfolios. I mean, just as an example, in one bank we already paid this commission that it went through the approval board, etc. And then last minute they get some news about AML and KYC, and sorry, we will not give you the loan, right? So and I think that is the something that we did not expect. I know that no, but there are some parties that don't like us to succeed, and there were some interested buyers in some of the energy projects. But I never thought we're gonna go to some, let's say, 90s style of you know a day of way of working. That there are some hiring some, and not I will not say hitman, yeah, but just hiring some people that go and break stuff and so on. So and yeah, that's why I don't want to take any more funds from the through the platform. Just if I'm not certain I'll be able to refinance it sooner, it would be not fair. And also it's expensive, yes. So it is better to again work as fast as possible to repay as fast as possible. Then 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 it will be a good story, right? Because project and SPVs. Uh, the restructuring process is for the group entity, the one who has borrowed the mezzanine funds. But of course, this whole restructuring process entails that we submit to court that Ventus Energy Group owns such and such asset, there are such and such claims and everything. So it's all together, yeah. So there is no legal relationship between platform lenders and the project companies. All the loans are to the mother company, yeah. So the senior lenders have a relationship to the project companies. Yeah, that's how the structure is. Regarding the projects under development, wind project is going on still. Yeah, I have not put pictures and updates, but we managed to place to dig in all the cables and everything before we started the not we but farmers started working on the agricultural land, working on agricultural land, so that's good. And then in June or July there should be already some more finished projects in the wind as well. Regarding powerhouse in Kruspils, which is waste burning plant, so we do see this occasional sabotage thing that somebody doesn't allow us to drive there or complain to environmentalists, and then we have to wait for the checks, etc. But it's slowly progressing as well. We have paid for the equipment, so it should be progress will be fast once there is no obstacles, and we expect that it can be operational for the next heating season in autumn. And for solar park in Estonia and Valga. So luckily, the construction company didn't take the bribe of 100,000 euros, so they're working on the project to finish it, and then so everything else is going fine there. Then, of course, there are some projects that have shifted. So there's question about Daugavpils and NGSL project. So NGSL company, they changed their business model, so they're no longer working on the hardware. So we are most likely will opt just to sell out the batteries we have bought. So, to stop this project because they cannot deliver what they wrote in the agreement, and they have no assets. So we cannot also, there's no point suing them. And, because they are now just a software company. Regarding Daugavpils, so we have taken out all the best equipment from the Daugavpils, which we wanted to place in Powerhouse Dambis and Atlas Street and so on. And a bit also in Powerhouse Kruspils. So this has a bit shifted, and our plan was for Daugavpils to change it for BESS, for batteries project, because there is land and all those connections. But of course, with the restructuring, we will see so how things go, and this is obviously postponed until we have repaid major part of creditors, and then those who will want to remain with Ventus, then we will be able to go further and understand do we want to go in that direction or not. Regarding recoveries, so this will be decided between in the restructuring process with the court and everything. I cannot comment on that yet. regarding the projects located on land not owned by the group. So wind is owned by some farmers, like the land where is the wind turbines. Um, and but most of the projects we actually own ourselves the land. Yeah, so there's very few projects we don't own the land. But even if we don't own the land, then we have the long-term agreement, so that's not affecting valuations or marketability because most actually solar parks are built on leased land, and we have actually very strange that we actually own those lands. Most projects that could be actually a plus in many instances. Regarding some unpaid invoices and so on. As I said, all operational companies have bank accounts, and we have managed to get money from Paysera back for most of them, and there should be invoices coming, coming in from the sale of heat and electricity. So soon there will not everything will be fine there, so we don't see immediate risk of being late or something. uh, Regarding capital expenditures on unfinished projects, we will have to review each project, right? Because there are different things we can do in each of it. So this again will depend on this restructuring that will be put in this restructuring plan with some options, and yeah, so that's how it's going to be. But luckily, most of the projects are finished, right? So or some will be just sold in the development phase, right? We will not, if let's say if project needs extra, 10, 15 million, then we're just not going to do that ourselves and just sell it as ready to build or, in the current stage, the project. I think I covered about this parallel already. So, interest compounding and taxation. So I got it from the messages, and thank you very much. And there are lots of good ideas in the Telegram group where everybody is. I also received personal messages. Thank you for that. Sure, we're gonna look. We don't want you to lose money, right? So we will. We will organize later, not today, say this week or early next week, a poll who would, as you come from many different countries, yeah. So we will just do the survey that it will be non-binding, but at least so we see, how many people are interested. Let's say if interest is not capitalized, it's just accrued or it's unpaid. Somebody wanted also that something is they want to write something off. So we will do the poll with all these options in the portal. So because we need to understand the amounts, right? And then you'll be able to see vote and then we will summarize this and share it with you and then offer solutions. Yeah. So no worries for that. There is no intention to harm anything. Yeah. So we currently put interest in the capitalization because we cannot get funds to the Ventus Energy group anyway. So and we cannot pay it out, right? So that's why it was chosen like this. Yeah, I think I covered about the tax. So in case you need to change it, there will be the poll in the platform, and maybe we'll find a way how to make it better for you. But current option, as I said, current valuations that we have and how we value our assets and also some independent ones, we really hope that we'll be able to repay creditors in full. But before that, of course, as I said, we will try to work with you, right? Also update you, and then if you have something, ideas, do send them in Telegram, in email, how it's better for you, and then we'll just offer them. If we will look if it's legally possible, it doesn't affect any, doesn't harm anyone else, then for sure we're gonna make those adjustments in the statements or in some profiles and so on. Regarding future of Ventus, so currently the main objective is to get all the money back to repay the creditors, right? Um, we don't see any option how Ventus, could restart and just continue building without restructuring, right? We need to decrease the value of the mezzanine funds, and as long as the banks or funds are not refinancing, right, then it's just no way how we can continue and hope to get the returns we would like to have. Yes, in parallel of restructuring, of course, we are still talking to, and we still will be talking to some banks. We will be also approaching, another, set of funds. We are again looking for the buyers and so on that would like to buy maybe. So that is all happening, but the current structure, it's highly unlikely we can continue in this way. Regarding investors choosing between repayment and continuation, I think this is a topic that when we can go, that we have already restructured, and and we have the funds in our bank account, right? And then that could be topic. Okay, do you want to, let's say, stay, with loans to Ventus, and that money then is used for certain, agreed projects to add additional value, or if there is no way how to add additional value, then of course there is no reason for us not to repay you out. Yeah. So and regarding realistic path for us to continue operating, that's the idea. Restructuring means that we are operating. Yeah, that's the whole point, that we continue operations, right, and collect all the funds, right, and finish what needs to be finished, and sell what needs to be sold, and repay what needs to be repaid. And regarding future regulatory issues, I think once the restructuring in the place, then we have legal protection, and as long as we don't collect new mezzanine funds, right, I don't see regulatory issues arising there, right? And as I said, and we do have like and our business model was and is compliant in Estonia, where we are based, right? Uh, so yeah, I don't see any threats there. If we speak about regulatory changes in the solar or heat market, of course, then this is something I cannot predict. I don't have a crystal ball, right? I'm not in the Ministry of Energetics or something, so that we'll have to see. But usually there is no super drastic changes, right? And also we see demand for heat is still increasing. There is, development happening, so there are more and more houses or commercial objects built that requires heat. For the electricity, right, there's also demand grows and grows even more. So I think that's, in that sense, we are fine. Regarding alternative structures, of course, we have explored a lot of options and how to, shift business and operate, and also, but this 1 week where there's set of bad news, like the banks closing, banks threatening not to do that, some, funds rejecting, senior loans, not senior, but, banks not giving the loan and so on. So all this together, right, thanks to the family. So there is just, again, that is the reason why we don't feel any chance we can continue in the existing way. And as I said, it would not be fair to the you as lenders, right, that we just continue. We need to have always from the beginning, right? If you follow Ventus from the start, then you know that our idea was always to uh, acquire, add some, value to the project, bundle it up, and sell it further. So there is nothing that we are now discussing. It's not nothing like wow, crazy and unexpected. It's just okay a bit sooner than we wanted. Unfortunately, we were not able to refinance due to these many obstacles I mentioned before. But we are just following as much as possible to our business model, and if selling is the one that generates most value for you as a creditors, and then subsequently for us, if we can sell, we regain everything for you, and then something's left, then also shareholders can get something. Yes, so I think that's the best path forward. uh Regarding transferring to some other partners, so of course we are discussing options for the sale, and that would be not, and that of course could be an option that somebody buys, let's say, part of the Ventus and takes on the loans. That could be option. Um, so in that case, we of course let everybody inform everyone, and I'm sure there will be some. Normally, there should be like some voting, yes or no, or something like that, because you are the creditors, and that would happen during the restructuring process. Yeah. The main, so if we speak about governance and transparency, yes, so we plan to have a website operational because, and we'll also publish the statistics and everything as long as we have employees for that. And so, of course, the website will be run on minimal terms, yeah. So in order to minimize the cost, right? So it will be just operational, paying for the servers and adding the newest information, and that's it. And making maybe occasionally some polls or voting and things like that. Regarding audits, we need the audits anyway, right? Even so, I mean, we have paid for it, so they should be completed. Um, Yeah, lenders will definitely receive monthly update. Of course, if we speak about, so as I said, we have operational power plants. This is not like some company that we raised funds and didn't build anything, and it's everybody just in development. So we have many operational companies, right? So we're gonna report minimum on the operational results, but of course, if there is something happening on in terms of sales of one, let's say, part of portfolio, heat, electricity, I mean, whatever, of course, we'll include that, but it's not that every day there is something new to report, right? So, but we will, of course, we have always reported, right? We have never hide or anything. So, and I see there are some bots joined in the group saying, "Oh my God, after 4 hours, I'm not in the chat." I'm saying, "Oh, they are gone." So we are not gone. We are here. As I said, we are also very interested to get our money back. So we are in this boat together. Yeah. So we're gonna, work very hard to get the money back. Regarding transparency throughout the process, as I said, if restructuring is agreed upon, court will put in advisor that will, monitor everything. So, and as I said, we're gonna post updates, and also all these, companies, they are like companies, right? So you'll be able to see whether some company has left Ventus Energy ownership or not. So it's impossible actually to hide, right? So it's we are quite forced to be transparent anyway. Yeah. I doubt the platform will become, and it's question on if platform becomes unavailable. So I doubt platform will become unavailable, right? So, right, this minimal maintenance cost is not that high, and we will not develop new features or something, right? But I think that there's no issue, right, regarding the platform. So it will be there, and in case something would happen that would prevent us from maintaining the platform, before that we would, make sure that all the contracts are downloaded, sent to your registered email addresses or something like that. So I think that I don't see any issue there at the moment. So for the next steps, I think what interests you most is the PCR issue. Yeah, so we'll continue to push them, right? We have written already the complaint. If they fail to repay us in the legal terms, of course, we'll have another, file another complaint. We are working now hard to submit this restructuring plan to the court with all the necessary documents. We will also then present that plan later in early first weeks of July. In the same process, we are working together with our legal advisors with the Buffin, also on the, let's say, the similar or the same repayment plan and restructuring, right? We will organize lender forums and what we'll do, I think, later this week or early next week. So we have lender polls on several key topics, as I said, you raise this taxation problem, then write-off problem. Then we have several large platform lenders, founders. Yeah, they have asked us about option to transfer to change from being lenders to having equity instead. So we will also make poll on that. So see, because everybody will be able to, write yes, no, interested, not interested, right? So we can see what is the interest, right? And so on. And of course, provide regular updates, all right, to you. I think this we have done. We will continue to do so. I'm here. Tooms is here. Yanis is here. Legal guys are here. Operational guys in the power plants are there and working. So we are here, and yeah, it's sad that this has come to this, but this was again, always a possibility that something doesn't work out. Did I ever expect I will get threats that I'm for working in energy? No. But it is what it is, and assets are there. And if you are visiting Riga or Estonia, let us know. You want to come to our office at the moment, or visit some power plants. You're always happy to be there. We have today one lender present where we can share some, not publicly shareable, documents and so on. So yeah, you're always welcome. And yeah, we'll work very hard to make sure everything is safely returned back to you. Thank you very much. This time managed to get in 1 hour, so I hope my team will do all the necessary things to record the call so we can publish it later tomorrow. And yeah, in case there's something more, so reach out to the info.ventus.energy. And yeah, write in the chat. Of course, currently the chat with hundreds of messages, so it's very likely I will skip some. So it's yeah. Try to use both options. We will answer them, and at our earliest convenience, but understand also there lots of questions. Even now today, right? There were 3 times more questions, more or less some of them the same. Yeah, so we try to put them in structure and in order. So, but yeah, if there's some more questions, do send in. Of course, there's some sensitive information we will not be able to share, but other than that, yeah, we are here, and as I said, always welcome. So thank you very much.